Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamerspro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. Well, whenever you see us producing shows like this, you know the NBA season is back, and these spirited debates are now going to be starting all over again, and we're going to get into a whole nother season of it. The LeBron fans are going to come out, start calling me a LeBron hater, and we're just going to get it going. We're going to get it going, and then we're going to go through the season. We'll take a break, and then we'll do it again. But yesterday, well, this week really, but on the 30th was Media Day. And 27 NBA teams were speaking to the media. All of them were there. We covered some of it. Yesterday, we spoke a little bit about what Ben Simmons had to say. We spoke a little bit about what the Kawhi Leonard had to say. The other day, we went over some comments that Russell Westbrook had to say. But really, the team that was going to make the most noise, as they always do, is the Los Angeles Lakers, featuring LeBron James. And they have so many storylines with LeBron, Bronny, the status of the team, their new head coach, JJ Redick, and all of that. So what happened? Yesterday, I tuned into a segment on ESPN First Take. And on the panel, it was Shannon Sharpe, Stephen A. Smith, Molly Karam, and Swagoo. And they were talking about some comments that LeBron James made during a presser, where essentially they were asking him about his basketball status in terms of how much does he have left in the tank. As you guys know, LeBron will be turning 40 years old. How much can he contribute? And you know, what does he feel he can give to the game? And LeBron was basically saying that, look, I still have a lot in the tank and all of that, and blah 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 blah. And this was the question that the panel was reacting to. But for whatever reason, what LeBron was saying began to annoy Stephen A. Smith. And it ended up turning into this big shouting match in humor, obviously not like seriously going at each other, but this big shouting match between Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe and then Swagoo. And then at the end, Kendrick Perkins jumped in, and it was all centered on what LeBron said, because Stephen A. Smith felt like LeBron James was trying to change the narrative once again. And then it created this entire entertaining segment, if I have to say myself. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what these gentlemen had to say here, and then want to come back and really react to their comments. Take a listen to the panel here.
Sit back and chill, because you miss what Shannon trying to do with his slick-ass self. Let me tell you something right now, okay? Yo, Shannon, how many games did you go to last year, bro? How many games you go to last year? Guess what? You didn't make it. You didn't. Oh, yeah. I understand that. Last time I checked, you work after the games. You didn't have time to go to the games because you knew the Lakers wasn't going to do a damn thing. And that's where this point is going. Who the hell said LeBron wasn't great? You see, this is what LeBron. Remember when I said, do I got to get my ticket? Shannon, you want here for this? Do I got to get the ticket, Molly? Do I got to put it up there? Great actor, great businessman, great father, great. Do I got to get all of that up? We should say that. Who questioned the greatness of LeBron James? None of us have. He's on a Mount Rushmore. I got him top 2 all time in the history of basketball.
And he ain't
He's a 4-time. Hold on, Shannon. He's a 4-time champion, right? Listen. All of that stuff he bringing up is stuff we could talk about later. We know he's great. That ain't the point. What you gonna do with the Lakers, bro? Are they gonna be great? You gonna win some damn games? Don't make this about him. No, this ain't about him. Bronny, I'm wishing Bronny nothing but the best. I hope that young kid has a bright future. Nothing but the best to him and his wonderful family, the whole 9. LeBron James, what's up, bro? Are the Lakers gonna win? Oh, you gonna be relevant? You gonna get bounced out in 5 games in the first round? You gonna get swept whenever you see Jokic in the vicinity and you ain't got Steph and the crew to help you out? But when he going against Serbia, what you gonna do? That's the point. Don't change the narrative. Don't let him change the narrative. Oh, I'm in the best shape and I feel like I can do. Everybody know how great he is. Everybody know he's a champion. Everybody know he's in phenomenal shape. We even chronicled how much money he spends on his body. $1.5 million last time we checked. More than you, Shay. But it don't matter. At the end of the day, he got to show up. And are the Lakers going to be relevant? That's the damn narrative. This ain't as the Lakers turn. This ain't no damn soap opera. Handle your business. We want to see you win basketball games and go deep into the playoffs. That's the subject matter. Don't change it.
The question was,
Lot
does
in the tank.
LeBron have something left in the tank? Why you go all of this? What you gonna do, bro? You gonna make the playoffs?
Because you
You
changing
gonna
the
win a
narrative.
title?
Because
That's
you
what the
changing the
question.
narrative.
Answer the question.
That's what
You
I was
helping
about to
change
do,
the
Shay.
I
narrative.
need you to
That's
instruct
what you
Stephen
doing.
A. to answer the question.
Shay,
Does he have
Shay,
something left in the tank?
Shay,
You
his
damn
ass-
right he does.
He avoided that like the plague,
Time
Shay.
out.
He
Time
avoided
out.
That's
that.
all I need you to say.
Time out. Right now, approaching age 40, LeBron James is still one of the top players in the world.
Okay, for sure.
Easily. There's
Why did you
nothing.
say that?
That's my point. To
What?
ask this question feeds right in to that cushiony position he wants to be in. No.
What cushiony
You got
position?
Why you didn't put that- hold on.
Are the
Hey.
Lakers going to compete for the championship?
Swag
Yes
you.
or no?
You see
Well,
what
you
he
one of
did?
the producers
Why
on the
did you
show.
put-
You should have put the damn question up there.
I was trying to help
Hey,
Shannon.
no,
I was
Swag
trying to
you
make
see
him
what he
feel good. I
did?
was trying to
Why
make
did
him
you
feel
have that at the, why you put that at the last chapter? Why did you put that at the preface? Why did you lead with that? That's not what you led with. You went all around the world when you could have went right
Hey,
after
Shay,
the and got what
this
you
is what he
needed.
do. This is what he do. No, this is what you do. When we get on here, we start hearing time out. Let me say something about it. Does he have a lot in the tank? You damn right he do. Year 22, he got
You damn
enough
right.
in the tank, and I guarantee you this. Based on history, what it tells me and Shay is that the Los Angeles Lakers will be in the conversation throughout the year to get in the playoffs and potentially have a chance.
Okay. Time out. Can we bring in somebody who actually played the game, an NBA player?
So you heard what the panel had to say there, right? You heard what he had to say. You even heard the part when Swagoo asked last year, was anyone saying that they had positive expectations about the Lakers? As he was saying that, I actually had, when I was watching it for the first time, I actually had to think back and say, but wait a minute, were they saying that the Lakers had a chance? And then I remembered that people were saying that. People were saying, I remember on FS1, on ESPN, shows like Undisputed with Keyshawn Johnson, Paul Pierce, Stephen A. Smith, Kendrick Perkins, I think Shannon Sharpe, and some Nick Wright, and all of these guys were saying that if the Lakers get into the playoffs, they feel comfortable about the Lakers' chances against every single team in the West with the exception of the Denver Nuggets. I remember that. I remember these people saying this. I remember them saying, outside of the Denver Nuggets, the Lakers don't have anyone to be afraid of. And then some people were saying, oh no, the Lakers should want to play the Denver Nuggets. I remember this. Some people were saying the Lakers should want to play the Denver Nuggets to get their toughest opponent out of the way so that they can face whomever else will be left standing. People were saying that. Why am I saying that? They were saying that they believe that the Lakers were going to they had a real chance to come out the West. I remember saying that. People saying that. And what happened was once the Denver Nuggets beat the Lakers in 5 and they ended up losing to the Wolves, a lot of us were like, well, if the Lakers couldn't beat the Nuggets in 5, good Lord, how the hell were they supposed to beat the Wolves, right? And some of us were like, okay, maybe that was the gap. But last year, did that conversation take place? It absolutely did. Now, back to what Stephen A. Smith got upset about. And to be honest with you, I was a bit surprised at how much Stephen A. Smith got worked up over LeBron's comments. But what I think is Stephen A. Smith is reacting to things that have happened in the past. Stephen A. Smith has always said that he feels that LeBron has this fetish of trying to control narratives. He's been saying this for years. And I think in this moment, he felt as if LeBron was trying to do that once again by basically saying, shifting off the expectations of, hey, we have a lot to prove. And Stephen A. Smith was like, we understand that you're great, but what are you gonna accomplish this year? Whereas the other player or the other people on the panel were like, well, the question says, does he have anything left in the tank? And then at one point, Swagoo was like, well, if you wanted us to answer that question, you would have just simply changed the question instead of asking us, since you're one of the producers, instead of asking us, does he have anything left in the tank? And I think he brings up a good point. I'm not 100% sure why Stephen A. Smith was so worked up over what LeBron had to say. This is just me. It's not 100% clear to me because LeBron answered a question that was asked to him in terms of if he has anything left in the tank. Now, if they had asked him, hey, what are your expectations for the team? And he said, oh, well, we'll see how it goes. I don't really expect much. Then that would be something different. That would be something different. So with that part of Stephen A. Smith, I truly don't get why he was so fired up over that. In terms of the other part with Swagoo talking about, well, who expected a lot of, everybody did. And by everybody, I'm talking about most of the big names in sports media last season. A lot of them were saying, I think even Skip Bayless at one point was saying, yeah, I think the whole Undisputed panel, if the Lakers could find a way to avoid the Nuggets, or if they could just find a way to get past the Denver Nuggets, then for sure they will absolutely have an opportunity to go to the West. I remember that. Now, looking at the Lakers prospects this season, do I believe that the Lakers have what it takes to go to the Western Conference Finals? As of now, I'm not sure. I think there's some teams that are probably still ahead of them. But then, one of the teams I had ahead of them was the Minnesota Timberwolves. But then the Minnesota Timberwolves dealed away Karl Anthony Towns to the New York Knicks, and they brought in Julius Randle, who could be streaky. So the makeup of that team has changed a little bit. And also, if you remember that series against the Denver Nuggets, it wasn't really Rudy Gobert that made the difference defensively on Nikola Jokic. It was Karl Anthony Towns. So for them to get rid of another 7-footer, and now you're going to be solely relying upon Rudy Gobert in a scenario in which possibly you face the Denver Nuggets again. I don't know what happened to the stock of the Minnesota Timberwolves, because Karl Anthony Towns was certainly a versatile big. He could stretch the floor. He can run the fast break. He can pick and pop. He had a very nice game, to himself. But I guess we'll have to see. In terms of the Lakers, we'll have to let me see how the season starts off, and I'll give you guys a better idea of what I think. So what happened yesterday? There was a very big argument that took place, or debate. Let me say debate, argument, debate, however you want to say it. These are just words. Very big debate that took place yesterday on ESPN First Take. And it was centered on some comments that LeBron James made, which were when they asked him at the press conference during Media Day, how much do you have left in the tank? LeBron then swiftly responded with, I feel like I have a lot that I can contribute. I feel like I have a lot left. He was very encouraged by his performance at the Olympics. I guess that surprised him, that rejuvenated him, invigorated him. So that's what he said. The panel then heard that, and the conversation went off into this tangent about, LeBron trying to make excuses, and then other people like, but what do you want him to say? He answered the question and all of that, right? And as I was listening to these guys go back and forth, I already knew at some point this conversation was going to shift towards what LeBron is doing at age 40 versus what Michael Jordan was doing at age 40. And of course, in typical fashion, Shannon Sharpe, with his Michael Jordan hating self, decided, you know what? This would be a perfect opportunity for me to draw a contrast between MJ in the later stages of his career versus LeBron, and to show you what LeBron is doing versus what Michael Jordan couldn't do. And that's what Shannon Sharpe decided to do. He decided to start taking shots at Michael Jordan. So for those of you who didn't hear what Shannon had to say about MJ, want to play for you now, and then want to come back and really get into the show. Take a listen to Shannon Sharpe's hating ass over here.
To answer your question, do LeBron James have a lot left in the tank? Yes, we was asking this question 3 years ago. And the answer, yes, he's defeated for the time. We get all that. But when you playing for the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the most historical franchises in sports, and you're LeBron James, every single season that you step foot onto the floor is championship or bust. There's no other way around it. LeBron James said it himself. I'm going to walk away from the game if I feel like I'm cheating the game. LeBron James' goal every time he step on the floor is to go out there and complete the mission. Can he complete the mission this season? Can he step on the floor and take a back seat or get the most out of Anthony Davis? Can he go out and make J.J. Redick look good after getting Darvin Ham fired? That's the question we need to be asking. Is he ready for that moment? I'm not downplaying what he did with the Olympics.
Hey, Swagoo.
I'm not down.
Hey, Swagoo.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Hey, Swagoo, you see how Perk come out here? I know a guy that played 2 years where championship or bust wasn't the expectation, but that ain't none of my business.
Hey, we ain't gonna talk about that, Shay. We're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna leave that alone. And he wasn't in your 22.
That ain't none of my business, Swagoo. That ain't none of my business. I don't know why I brought it up. I just care about you.
You know, you bringing up, you acting like he stayed with the Chicago Bulls. You understand? The man went to the Washington Wizards after leaving
That
the
ain't
team for a couple of years. He was
That
trying
ain't
to
our
get an
fault.
ownership job. He was trying
Where
to get
would
the
go
ownership
James go
by the
Tyler
Washington
Follow?
Wizards. Hold on.
Name the place that LeBron James. Hold on, Stephen A. Name the place that Go James has gone and the title didn't follow. Name the place that Go James has gone and the title didn't follow.
You can't. That's the beauty of it.
That's fair. That's fair.
cannot.
Excuse me. Name a championship finals that Michael Jordan lost.
You can't.
Sit your behind.
can't.
I can name a
Sit
place
down.
he didn't
Sit back.
You can't do that either.
You see?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
We trying to avoid this conversation, but you keep pulling us in. Shay, we trying to avoid the conversation.
No, they did not.
Shay, they didn't play NBA finals in the 80s. So
He owned the 90s.
Avoid it, Shay.
No, 80s.
Shay,
Hold
avoid
on.
it.
He got there in the 80s. He got there in the 80s, Stephen A.
Avoid
I
it.
said he didn't go to the finals in the 80s.
Avoid it,
Why
Shay.
not? Why not? Why
I'm
not?
not getting sucked in.
It wasn't good enough.
But I
His
think-
team wasn't good enough.
So you heard what Shannon Sharpe had to say. If you listen carefully, Swagoo was in the background. He was hilarious. He was just basically saying, don't do that. Don't do that. He was talking to Shannon like, let's not have this conversation. Let's not do that. Let's not go here. Why do you think Swagoo was doing that? Because he already knew that if they got into this conversation in a serious way, they was going to get eaten alive. And that's exactly what's about to happen right now. Because Stephen A. Smith, I'm sure he had a lot on his mind. He's producing the show, so he couldn't really come up with all the arguments to really combat Shannon Sharpe in that moment. But I do. I got all the arguments when it comes to this LeBron James versus Michael Jordan thing. So let's address some of the points that Shannon Sharpe made. One of the first points he made was, why didn't Michael Jordan win with the Chicago Bulls? I mean, with the Washington Wizards. And the second point he made was, well, if MJ was so great, why didn't he win any basketball games or win any NBA championships or go to any NBA championships in the 80s, considering he came into the NBA in the mid 80s, 84. If I was Stephen A. Smith at that moment, I would have quickly responded with, I would have been like, so why didn't LeBron James win a title in 2011? I would have responded with that, but I digress. Back to the point. Okay. What I want to do is, because I feel like a lot of people say, oh, Jordan couldn't win in his later years, but they don't realize the team that Jordan was playing with and the lack of talent that Michael Jordan was playing with compared to the talent that LeBron has been playing with since the age of 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. Now let's look at Jordan's actual roster. Let's look at the 02-03 roster. On that team, he had Kwame Brown, Brian Cardinal, Juan Dixon, Anthony Goldwire, Brandon Haywood, Larry Hughes, Jared Jeffries, Christian Laettner, Tyronn Lue, Charles Oakley, Brian Russell, Bobby Simmons, Jerry Stackhouse, Eaton Thomas, and Jahadi White. Right? So that's the team that he had. That was his roster that year. Let's look at the roster he had the year prior. Courtney Alexander, Kwame Brown, Hubert Davis, Richard Hamilton, Brendan Haywood, Popeye Jones, Christian Laettner, Tyronn Lue, Bobby Simmons, Eaton Thomas, Jahadi White, Chris Whitney. Let me ask you all a question. Who on there was a perennial all-star to begin with? Number one. Number two, who on that roster was at the talent level of Anthony Davis? Please let me hear it. You remember the first year LeBron got to the Lakers? You remember that year he didn't make the playoffs? Do you know one of the reasons why he didn't make the playoffs? Because he didn't really have all-time level talent playing with him. Did LeBron play good individually? Absolutely he did. But in terms of making the playoffs, he didn't make the playoffs. So the very thing that Shannon said, well, why didn't Jordan make the finals all of those years, is the very same thing that happened to LeBron his first year in LA. He didn't have any all-star talent in terms of his teammates. The moment he got Anthony Davis, things changed. So the question now becomes, do you think the Wizards would have been able to make the playoffs if Jordan had Anthony Davis? What about Dwight Howard? What about Rajon Rondo? What about all the other talented players that he played with along? Do you think Jordan would have made the playoffs with the Wizards if he had? Of course he would have made the playoffs. Of course he would. The truth about Jordan's career, about him winning championships, they talk about the 80s. Well, didn't he play in the 80s? People are like, oh, you like to hide the fact that Jordan played. Who's hiding the fact that Jordan played in the 80s? Jordan was doing things in the 80s that we never saw any other basketball player do. So why would somebody try to hide it unless you're an idiot? Like, who's hiding Jordan's numbers and accomplishments in the 80s? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. We're not hiding it as much as people, any more than people are hiding LeBron's numbers in 2018. Like, what are we talking? Who's hiding Jordan's numbers? Who? But the fact of the matter is, for the first 6 years of Michael Jordan's career, he didn't even play with a single All-Star. And the first time he played with an All-Star is when Scottie Pippen, after 3 years, developed into an All-Star in 1990. And that year that Scottie developed into an All-Star, they started going to NBA Finals, and they won 3 straight championships. He took off a year, came back, lost to the Orlando Magic, and ran off another 3 championships. And in an 8-year window, the Chicago Bulls never lost more than 2 games in a row. What are we talking about? The problem during that back and forth with Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe was that he didn't have that information, Stephen A. Smith, to push back. He didn't have it. So it looked like Shannon won, when in reality, Stephen A. Smith just didn't have the information. So let me ask you guys this question in another way. When was the time when LeBron had at least one All-Star teammate and won 3 championships in a row? What period of the NBA was that? When was the period when LeBron had 2 All-Star caliber teammates and won 3 championships in a row? Oh, it never happened? Yeah, you can find, because it never happened. It never, ever happened. Jordan did that 2 times. 2 times. Folks, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? It looked like Shannon won that argument because it was like him taking candy from a baby. Stephen A. Smith had no argument to refute Shannon Sharpe on what he said. But for Shannon to try to bring that up is like, all right, let's bring it up. Let's bring it up. Maybe Swagoo was aware of it, and that's the reason, like, nah, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, son, don't do that, don't do that. But this thing is not a debate. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. This GOAT debate was never a debate to me personally. I think it's a debate that has been made up of a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Is LeBron one of the greatest players that ever played in the NBA? Absolutely. You got to be a flaming a moron to say he's not. He's one of the best players. One of the best players to ever play basketball, in my personal estimation. There is no question about it. But there's a difference between being one of the best players and being the best player. The best player, especially when you're now bringing him to compare him to MJ, I think is laughable. From any angle that you look at it, from the beginning of LeBron's career to the end of his career versus from the beginning of Jordan's career, that there's no point where I said, you know what, man, LeBron might be better than Jordan. The only thing LeBron has going for him is a longevity, playing so well over an extended period of time. But back when Jordan was playing, he was already beating these dudes. So he's like, yo, I've beat you dudes. Like, they can't beat me. They cannot beat me. I've gone to the mountaintop 6 times and I came back victorious. I've never even sniffed a game 7 in my life. Never. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Jordan is the only athlete, at least NBA player, that I've closely observed, that the more you investigate and study his career, the freakier it gets. He's the only one. Not LeBron, not Kobe, not Wilt. He's the only one. I'm going to give you guys another piece of information that some of y'all may not know. Jordan played 15 years in the NBA. Okay? 15 years. Do you know how many playoff series MJ lost? How many playoff series MJ lost when he had at least one All-Star teammate? Do you know how many? 1. I want you guys to sit down and think about what the hell I just said. I want you to think carefully. Jordan has only lost one playoff series when he had at least one all-star teammate. Kobe could never say that. LeBron for damn sure could never say that. So how do we get to say that LeBron or Kobe are greater than Michael Jordan? How do we get and I'm a Kobe guy. And I think Kobe's closer to Jordan than LeBron. So how can we say the whole thing is a joke? It's a total joke. Jordan's the best two-way player that ever lived. He's the best. And if you hear anybody talk about basketball, they'll tell you the hardest thing to do is to be a two-way player. I've heard so many audios of Carmelo Anthony and other players. And I'm like, man, I ain't playing. Even Gilbert Arenas, man, I ain't playing no defense. Because they know how hard it is to play defense and then score. Jordan, hear this well, made 9 all-first defense teams. 9. Then won 10 scoring titles. Then won a Defensive Player of the Year. What are we even talking about? Gilbert Arenas, I was arguing with him like I think a year ago. He was talking about that game. He scored, was it 60 on the Lakers? He's like, I scored 60 on the Lakers. I scored 60. And I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Gil, and I said to him, I'm like, Gil, you acting like as if you're talking like, you're making it seem like as if you're somehow on Kobe's level. And I'm trying to understand. Like, we're talking about a good game you had against Kobe, but you're now trying to overblow this thing into making it seem like, yeah, me and Kobe were comparable players. And I'm like, is that what you're suggesting? And I asked him, I said, Gil, could you have ever, I asked him 2 questions. Could you have ever led the league in scoring and made all first defense? Do you know what he said? No. I asked him, I said, if we replace Kobe Bryant with you on the Los Angeles Lakers in 2010, 2009, 2010, do they beat the Boston Celtics? He said no. So I said, so why are you making such a big, like, why are you hollering and screaming about this 60-point game? Like, why are you spending this much time doing it? For as good as Kobe was, Jordan was better. This thing is not a debate. People feel like, oh, you hate. It ain't a debate. Like, let's cut the nonsense out. Forget about people sitting up there twerking it up all over the place on TV, knocking over drinks, pouring honey all over the table, trying to rub honey on people's backs, screaming and hollering. Forget about all of that. All of that twerkation won't help you. Today, we're going to be talking about Rob Parker, who once again seems to be pissed off at LeBron James. Now, here's what's interesting about Rob Parker and LeBron James. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of Rob Parker. I love the show that he had with Kim and Chris Broussard. The Odd Couple is a damn shame. Chris ain't there no more. I thought they made a great duo. But anyway, Rob Parker has a very interesting relationship with LeBron. He thinks LeBron is the greatest player of all time, but he came up... Oh, man. He came up with these acronyms for players on Colin Cowherd's show. He came up... as I'm thinking about it, like about to say it, I'm cracking up. He came up with the FOFOT. Most finals failure. He came up with the FOFOT. And then he came up with one for KD. He called him the Masot. He goes, most sensitive player. I never get over that one, man. The FOFOT and the Masot. That was so... Anyway, but Rob says LeBron is the second greatest player of all time. I don't know why he feels that way, but nevertheless, that's what he feels. But then it seems like LeBron be doing a lot of stuff that really be getting on Rob Parker's damn nerves. Now, to me, I had LeBron in my top 5. I had to remove him out of my top 5 last year. I couldn't do it no more. And it had nothing to do with him as a basketball player. Absolutely nothing. In terms of basketball talent, I think LeBron is one of the 5 greatest players of all time when it comes to basketball. What made me remove LeBron out of my top 5 was the antics. I just got fed up with I just couldn't deal with it anymore. When I now brought in the antics, I'm like, bro, I can't take it no more. I can't do it. I refuse to do it. So what happened? LeBron is there media day, and he's speaking to the media. And apparently a reporter, I think a female reporter, asked him, hey, LeBron, do you feel like you have anything left to prove in your NBA career? And LeBron basically said, no, I don't feel like I have anything left to prove. Well, apparently those comments pissed off Rob Parker to the point where he absolutely just completely snapped on LeBron. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what Rob Parker had to say about LeBron saying he has nothing to prove in the NBA. And then we're going to come back and really get into the meat and potatoes of today's show. Take a listen to him here.
Is there anything left for me to accomplish as a basketball player? As a basketball player, on the court or off the court? No. Everything else is extra credit. I'll take it. I'll take it, though. I love it. I love what I do. But I don't need to. No, I got everything.
LeBron James.
He's got everything. So this season, winning a championship, that's not something to accomplish? I mean, I get it. And I'm always saying that he hasn't accomplished a lot, but why are you playing then? Is it just for pictures with you and your son with the same uniform on, or are you trying to win another championship? What I have to accomplish is to win this fine organization, which did me a solid, put my team, my son.
Wait, did him a what?
A solid.
What did he do for them?
No,
a few years back.
No, he did him a solid by taking a son who any other kid without that name, Kelvin, would not be drafted by the Lakers.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nobody else averaging 5 points for a bad USC team is getting drafted.
I don't disagree with that.
Okay,
I absolutely have no argument there.
I'm not saying that he couldn't have been a free agent and signed and worked his. That's not what I'm saying. Or he didn't deserve a chance, opportunity. That's the solid they did so that they could do something for LeBron. I'm just saying that if I'm a Laker fan, I want to hear that winning a championship for this organization is what I have left to accomplish. I want to win a championship every year that I continue to play in this league. That's what I want, not I don't have anything to accomplish. I've done everything.
Rob Parker, the question was, do you feel you have anything left to accomplish? The question wasn't, what are your goals for the season?
Yes.
So she's asking him, in a historical context, you've played 22
Doesn't he want to
years.
win as many games, championship as
that
Michael
wasn't
Jordan?
the question.
Why?
No, why do I? But that doesn't have to be my accomplishment. That's what y'all want me to do.
No, that's what he wants.
How you gonna tell that man what he wants?
That's
She
what
asked.
he wants.
No, that question wasn't. You're mixing up want and what he has left to accomplish. Literally, the man has nothing. He has the scoring leader. Which, by the way, what's the first thing they ask him? They show what they asked him in 2003. They said, how do you define your game? And he said, I'm a passer, I'm a distributor, I get guys going. So this man, as we all know, passing has been his main thing, yet he's the all-time leading scorer. He has 4 rings, 4 MVPs, should have been at least 8, but that's a story for another day. And he led the Laker organization to a ring, led Cleveland to a ring, led Miami to a couple rings. Now the man that got his son in the NBA, sat and had a media day with his son. What else is there left for him? He has been an ambassador for the game. He has been a champion for social commentary and political things. The question was, is there anything left for you to accomplish? Not what is your goal for the season?
No,
That's two different things.
No, it's not. Do you have anything left to accomplish? Sure. I want to win 2 more championships, or I want to win a championship every year I play for the Lakers.
He wants to, and that's the cherry on top he was referring to.
Yeah, but that's the thing that he still could have said. It just sounded like, I've done everything. I don't know. I'm just here.
Rob Parker,
that's not what I want to hear.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever in your life had to question, is LeBron going to be mentally prepared, physically prepared, and going to give it his all? No. We know absolutely for certain that he's about to come and bring it. He's about to be the absolute best version of himself. He's in amazing shape. I just was with the guy yesterday. He is going to have high expectations for his teammates. We already know what he is mentally to the game. And that's why we don't have to worry about that. So the given is he's trying to win a championship.
Yeah, but the given is you could always still say that. And when someone asks you about what you're going to do or what you want to do or is there anything left, I think that my first thing is I play basketball to win a championship. So is there something less to accomplish? Sure there is. To win another championship for this city, for this organization, for this franchise, whatever you want to say, sure there is. Maybe not for you personally because you've already won, but there's got to be. That's why I play. I play for the people in the city and all this other stuff that comes on.
So you heard what Rob Parker had to say in response to what LeBron had to say. What are my thoughts on this? First of all, I think from an individual standpoint, I don't believe LeBron has anything left to prove in terms of accomplishment. If LeBron had retired 3 years ago, I don't think it would have made a difference. I don't think it would have made a difference in a lot of people's minds. I really don't. In terms of him being considered the greatest player of all time, I think that ship sailed a long time ago. I think a lot of people have him in their top 5. Some people have him in their top 3. But in terms of him convincing people that he's a GOAT, I think that's a fool's errand at this point. Pointless endeavor. I don't think LeBron is convincing anyone of that. So in terms of from an individual standpoint, accomplishment, accolades, I think he's right. He's pretty much done what I think he could possibly do. Yeah, he got the scoring title, but I don't think that wasn't going to change his standing all the time, at least to people like me and others. But so you have that. But I also understand the question that Rob Parker poses, which is, well, if you have nothing left to prove, then why are you still playing? Is it simply just to play with your son Bronny? Is it simply to accrue stats and pile and keep adding on to your stats? Is it that? What are you playing for? Because Rob's point is, for you to say you have nothing to prove, it feels like a letdown to Laker Nation and possibly the Lakers organization if the Laker fans hear that. Maybe that's not something the Laker fans want to hear. Really? You have nothing to prove? You have nothing to prove? Maybe some Laker fans feel like that championship that they won in the bubble is not a real championship because they didn't have an actual parade and all of that. Maybe there's some fans that feel that way. If you're asking me, do I feel like LeBron has something to prove? No, from an individual standpoint. From the Lakers standpoint, does he have something to prove? I don't think so. Right? I don't think so. I don't think LeBron is going to be in the Lakers fans' top 5 Laker players of all time. I don't think it's that type of deal. I don't think Laker fans are viewing LeBron in that vein. But hey, look, I could be 100% wrong. So